Support for SportsPage is provided by the University Store. The University Store is the official headquarters for Mules and Jenny's emblem clothing, gifts, and UCM memorabilia. Books, office supplies, art supplies, and more are available at the University Store, located on the lower level of the Elliott Union on the UCM campus in Warrensburg. And promotional support for SportsPage is provided by 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar. 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar, the radio home of University of Central Missouri Athletics.
Coming up on this week's edition of the UCM Sports Page, Jenny's softball claims the MIAA title.
The UCM track and field team split up to compete in 3 separate meets.
And the 2014-2015 Mules and Jenny's Athletes of the Year have been announced. All of that and more on this week's edition of the UCM Sports Page. Good evening and welcome to the final edition of the UCM Sports Page this year. I'm Brianna Blocker.
And I'm Adrian Columbus.
And I'm Jason Katz. We're shooting our final episode in the Department of Communications studios. We're going to start tonight's broadcast with updates on both Jenny's softball and the Mules baseball team.
Jenny's softball went into last week knowing its destiny was in its hands. Win, and the Jennies were conference champions. Lose, and they need some help. Benjamin Eaton and Taylor Wicks have the story.
Jenny softball faced off versus the Lindenwood Lady Lions for a doubleheader on Senior Day. UCM comes in at 37-13 and 19-5 in the MIAA. Lindenwood comes in at 17-33 and 6-18 in conference play. The Gens knew if they swept Lindenwood, they would be MIAA regular season champs. Game 1 was a pitcher's duel. A run didn't cross the plate until the 5th inning when the Lady Lions hit an RBI double. Then in the bottom of the 6th, Alex Leonhardt stepped to the plate with Jackie Prater on base and smacked a go-ahead 2-run home run that ended up being the game winner. UCM 2, Lindenwood 1. Game 2 was a bit different with the Jennies scoring in 3 of the 6 innings, with one of those innings being a 5-run 5th. Gens win it 7-2 and become MIAA regular season champs on Senior Day. The Jennies' regular season record ends up at 39-13 and 21-5 in the MIAA. Both totals are the most under head coach Susan Anderson. For Sports Page, I'm Benjamin Eaton.
Congratulations, head coach Susan Anderson and Jenny's softball on the MIAA title.
The Mules baseball team also had an outside chance at the conference crown if they could sweep Lindenwood with a little bit of help from Northeastern State to sweep Missouri Southern. Well, neither happened. The Mules dropped 3 of 4 decisions at Lindenwood while Missouri Southern took 3 of 4 at Northeastern State. UCM head coach Kyle Crooks had this to say for his team prepares for the conference tournament.
We're still in mid-prep, I think, so we got back Sunday late night, and as per NCAA rules, we had an off day, but again, we have a good group of kids that came in and worked on their own and did a lot of things. Kept, the assistant coaches, Coach Griesaber and Stan Bursky, and everyone pretty busy just in terms of doing stuff on their own.
The Mules claimed Game 1 Friday against Lindenwood 13-4 as Jake Heisler struck out 6 and allowed 4 runs, 2 earned, and 6 2/3 innings work. But then it was all Lindenwood. The Lions held off a 7th inning UCM rally to claim Game 2 4-3. Saturday, the Lions brought their hitting shoes as they downed the Mules 13-4. As for Sunday, Lindenwood played in an unearned run in the bottom of the 9th to claim the final game of the series 4-3. With the loss, the Mules dropped to 3rd in the MIAA standings.
Coming up after the break, we'll update you on the Mules and Jennies track teams, plus updated MIAA standings and upcoming games for all UCM athletics. All of that and more coming up on Sports Page.
I choose excitement.
I choose to make a difference.
I choose uncommon opportunities.
I choose Red to experience learning to a greater degree.
Choose Red. Choose the University of Central Missouri.
My granddaughter is named June Elizabeth, but I call her Junebug. My hope is to teach her about kindness and about the love of animals and nature. I want Junebug to have the same opportunities I had by watching PBS. My husband and I feel so strongly about our PBS station that we've included them in our estate plan.
Call 1-800-753-3436.
PBS is part of our values, and we want to pass it on to the next generation.
Welcome back. Both the Mules and Jenny's track and field teams competed as split squads this past weekend. The largest group went to Des Moines, Iowa to compete in the Drake Relays. 2 individuals walked away with top finishes in their respective events against Division I and II athletes. Heaven Warner won the discus once again, setting the school record with a throw of 178 feet 2 inches. She also won the hammer throw and continues to lead NCAA Division II in both events. Erica Kinsey was victorious in the high jump with a height of 6 feet 5 inches. Okay. Another group traveled to the Baker Open in Baldwin City, Kansas. The Mules had 2 victories in the meet. George Harlambus won the long jump with a distance of 22 3 3/4 inches, and shot putter Jacob Mahan won with a throw of 51 8.25. The Jennies saw 3 of their competitors take away top spots in the Baker Open. Haley Hewer threw her way to first in the discus with a PR of 150 feet 6 inches. Victoria Jackson won the 100-meter hurdles with a time of 14.42 seconds. And Kaylee Van Blarkham vaulted 10 feet 11 3/4 inches to win pole vault. UCM sent a pair of runners to Indianola, Iowa to compete in the Simpson Relays. Adam Treadway competed in the 1500 finishing 5th in 3 minutes 58.72 seconds. Rachel Boone ran the 800 in 2 minutes 30.27 seconds. That time was good for 22nd. That's a look at what happened last week in UCM athletics. Now let's take a look at what's ahead for the Mules and Jennies.
By virtue of winning the conference regular season title, the Jennies softball team is qualified as the #1 seed for the MIAA tournament. Today through Saturday at Overland Park, Kansas, the Jennies face the Fort Hays State Tigers at 5 p.m. today. You can check scores, stats, and who the Jennies face next at UCMathletics.com.
The Mules baseball team also entered the first round of the MIAA tournament today. The 3rd-seeded Mules are hosting 6th-seeded Nebraska Kearney at Crane Stadium, Tompkins Field. Game 2 will begin at 6 p.m. tomorrow if necessary. Game 3 will be at 2 p.m. Saturday. If the Mules qualify for the second round of the tournament, they will advance to Community America Ballpark in Kansas City, Kansas. They would face the winner of the series between the 7th-seeded Lindenwood Lions and the 2nd-seeded Emporia State Hornets.
May 1st through May 3rd, the UCM track and field teams will travel to St. Charles, Missouri for the MIAA Outdoor Championships. The Jennies will try to defend their indoor title, while the Mules will be trying to win their first team title since 2011.
And finally, fresh off their MIAA title, the Mules golf team will travel to Lamont, Illinois for the NCAA Division II Regional Championships. The Mules finished 2nd at last year's Super Regional and will be looking to do one better this spring.
Those are your upcoming events for Mules and Jennies Spring Athletics. Now that we've told you who the Jennies and Mules will be facing this week, let's take a look at the MIAA standings.
In softball, the Jennies enter the MIAA tournament as the #1 seed. Central Oklahoma and Pittsburgh State are tied for 2nd. Missouri Western was 4th. Emporia State and Northwest tied for 5th. And Washburn and Fort Hays tied for 7th. Pittsburgh State, Northwest, and Washburn all got the higher seeds out of those teams by virtue of the tiebreaker.
In baseball, Missouri Southern claimed its first conference regular season title since 1992. Emporia State finished 2nd, 1/2 a game above the Mules. Washburn, Missouri Western, and Nebraska Kearney tied for 4th. Western got the 4th seed, with Washburn and Nebraska Kearney claiming 5th and 6th. Lindenwood was 7th in the conference, and Northeastern State 8th. You can tune in to SportsPage every week for the latest in UCM athletics. But if you missed a show, don't panic. You can also find scores and updated schedules on UCMathletics.com.
You can also watch select home baseball and softball games live on Stretch Internet. Just go to UCMathletics.com for webcast schedules. Plus, viewers in Warrensburg, Clinton, Knob Noster, and Sedalia can catch replays of those webcasts on our sister station, UCM TV. Just turn to Charter Channel 989. 12-6 if you have a digital tuner.
On the other side of the break, we continue our series highlighting recent inductees to the UCM Athletic Hall of Fame. You're watching the UCM Sports Page on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS. We'll be right back.
PBS has always played a big part in my being a good citizen. When the Watergate hearings began, PBS was thoughtful enough to rear them at night. So it was a great service to all of us who were busy with children during the day. Frontline, the News Hour. I really love Washington Week. I trust the news programs on PBS. I decided to do a planned gift because I want to ensure that PBS will be around for my grandchildren and hopefully great-grandchildren. I would hope that others, when doing their estate planning, would include their PBS station.
Your donation of support makes programming on KMOS possible. For more information, call 1-800-753-3436.
My PBS station is part of my community. That's something I really value.
So far, we've introduced you to 4 recent inductees into the UCM Athletics Hall of Fame. We have some extra time this week, so we're going to tell you about 2 new inductees.
Given the Jennies softball team's success this season, it's fitting that the first inductee we highlight tonight is Megan Leonard. She was a first-team All-MIAA selection in both of her seasons with Jennies softball. As a senior, she was the MIAA Pitcher of the Year and third-team All-American. She is Jennies' all-time leader in the earned run average and is second in career strikeouts and shutouts. As a senior in 2009, she led the Jennies to their first MIAA title since 2002. Here's her tribute video.
She has so much game presence in the circle, just intimidation. And it's even before she even delivers the pitch. And then once she delivers that pitch, it was just, I mean, she pitches mid-60s, lefty. I mean, she was just phenomenal. She reminded me of Mandy Berg. Mandy Berg was a teammate of mine, All-American, Hall of Famer here at Central Missouri. I mean, if you look in the career record books for Mandy Berg is number 1 or number 2 on almost every career pitching category. And if she is number 2, Megan Leonard's number 1. So as soon as we saw her, I was just like, we got to do whatever we can to get her in a Jennies uniform because she could be that next Mandy Berg.
Megan's by far the best pitcher I've ever caught in all of my career. And the thing that made her different was just her hard work, her dedication, just the command she had of all of her pitches. She would go out there and she would just own the circle. She knew 3 batters ahead of time what she wanted to do.
She was unbelievable in regards to how dominating she was on the mound. She averaged almost 300 strikeouts both years. The defense would always kind of joke around with her and be like, hey, let us play. Because the only time that they ever touched the ball was on a strikeout and Kelly Kirkus throwing the ball around the horn after a strikeout. She had such a fun personality, so highly competitive. When she stepped on that mound, like, she wanted to get that strikeout.
Being a left-handed pitcher, you don't see that often, and a lot of times when you do face a left-handed pitcher, they don't have the velocity like Megan had. Her curveball was just amazing, and especially on righties, it would just come straight into them, and they would have no clue what to do with it, and like they've never seen something like that, especially a pitch that moves that way with the velocity that it had. And then also her rise ball, it was just phenomenal, like the best pitch I think I've ever seen a pitcher throw.
She was a force to be reckoned with, and it was so fun to watch her out there on the mound. She came away with like 10.5 strikeouts, averaging 10.5 strikeouts per 7 innings. Like, that's phenomenal. And another big thing for her is she tied the NCAA record with the most consecutive scoreless innings of 83 2/3. She threw a 1-hit shutout against Missouri Western to break their 31-game win streak.
Everybody looked up to her. She was usually like one of the first ones to practice. Bullpen, she would stay in the bullpen, do her bullpen workouts until she knew exactly she had everything that she wanted done. It's just the consistency. And so just seeing that work ethic and how hard she worked to become how good she is, it made everybody else want to step up and work just as hard.
She's left a true legacy, and like as a coach, and even as my assistant coaches and everybody that comes through here, like before, whenever I would be looking for pitchers, it would be like I'd compare them to Mandy Berg. Now it's like, is she the next Megan Leonard? To be honest, I don't know if we will ever find another lefty pitcher mid-60s that could dominate the mound like she did. I don't know if that's possible, but we're always out there looking. Anytime that we're at tournaments, we're looking for the next Megan Leonard.
Definitely the impression she's left has been a great one here at UCM. She's probably she is one of the greatest pitchers in UCM history, and it's gonna be everlasting.
When you saw her play, you were just in awe, and I feel completely blessed and honored that I had the opportunity to coach her, because she was such an amazing player. She left her mark in our program. I mean, she left a legacy.
Congratulations, Megan, on being inducted into the UCM Athletic Hall of Fame. This honor is very well deserved. It was an honor to be your catcher and your teammate, and thank you for the memories.
Megan, I was so blessed to have an opportunity to coach you. I am so proud of you, and I am so happy for you, because you are so very deserving of this honor, being inducted into the UCM Hall of Fame.
Congratulations, Megan Leonard. Our second athlete to feature is Jaron Quincy. Quincy was a two-time All-American for Mules Wrestling, including a national runner-up finish as a senior. He holds the Mules Wrestling record for career wins with 136. He also holds the single-season record for pins with 27 and is second on the career pins list with 65. Here's his story.
You know, he was a very hard-working guy, wanted to be successful, and so I was impressed with that from the beginning. He wanted the team to be successful, very team-oriented also. You know, he wanted everybody to succeed. He wanted the team to win. You know, when I got here, I was pretty impressed with that. One of the things we did was we shortened up his stance a little bit, made it so he didn't put his legs so far out in front of him. And he worked really hard on that, shortening his stance. And then he had a nice little move he'd always done from the top, and I just told him one little thing he needed to do as far as stuffing the head a little more. He called it a chalice. And that led to a lot more pins. And actually, I think a lot of times Jaron won matches, beat guys where he might be behind by a little bit because he was a pinner.
Jaron was a very good athlete. He was also that one that gave the 110%, coachable. I never heard a bad word about, you know, him not being able to take instruction, and he was a very dynamic wrestler. You just never knew what move he was going to hit, or even if it was a move that had even been developed yet.
Jaron liked to wrestle, and at that time, you know, we wrestled a lot. And I think one of those years, Jaron was like 42-20 or something like that, 42-18. So he lost matches, but he also won the right matches. You know, and the thing was, he was very durable. Plus, he was very physical. He worked real hard in the weight room and worked at getting stronger. And so, you know, if you want to do those things, you'll win those kinds of matches.
Jaron never gave up, and that is my most vivid memory, was when he did get runner-up in his senior year. That fall, when we were doing the Open, he said, "Sarah, if I make nationals, will you come watch?" And I said, "Sure, Jaron." One of the best pictures I ever took was when Jaron in semifinals won, and he did the hands up running, and it turned out to be one of those blurry, but then once I got to looking at it, I go, oh, the mule head was basically focused, and it was that winning UCM, or CMSU at the time, athlete, knowing that he's going for a national championship. When he was in the championship, his competitor was afraid, and his knee went out. And then I watched wrestling at a pure guts, pure determination. No matter coach wanting to know, Robin Ursland was going, you can quit now. Jaron would not quit. And had he had maybe 30 more seconds, he might have been a national champion, because he hit a move right at the end. They'd had a little more time, he would have won.
He's really worked hard at officiating. I thought he was pretty good to begin with, but I talked to some of the other officials now, and they say now he's really good, because usually he did a good enough job I didn't have to say anything. I remember one time going over to the table and saying, "Okay, I think you're wrong on this," and he sat there and said, "Yeah, you're right, Coach." Went back and changed the call, which is, you know, officials also got to have enough integrity to admit sometimes when they're wrong, and he did, and he changed it, and it was a good call. We got Jaron into the regionals, you know, and that's led to him getting to the upper levels now also. I don't think there's a school in the country that can claim, you know, 3 guys doing the nationals. I don't think there's any place in the country can claim that.
Hi, Jaron, just want to congratulate you on a recognition well-deserved, and I appreciate you including me in this great ceremony.
Sharon, I just want to say I'm sorry I can't be there. Really proud of you. You worked hard over the years to get this, and I think it's outstanding, well deserved. And I hope you have a great day, and congratulations on being a University of Central Missouri Hall of Famer.
In our final segment tonight, we'll feature our 2014-2015 UCM Athletes of the Year. You're watching the UCM Sports Page on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS.
I choose to be a champion.
I choose to be inspired.
I choose the perfect fit.
I choose red to experience learning to a greater degree.
Choose red. Choose the University of Central Missouri.
I support one student in college with a scholarship. Just the way I want to pass on a legacy of education. I would like to pass PBS on to the next generation.
For more information, call 1-800-753-3436.
I like to think that PBS is concerned with our soul. If your soul is in the right place, you're giving back.
Central Missouri Athletics announced the winners of the 2015 Dr. Peggy Martin and Vernon Kennedy Awards for the Outstanding Female and Male Senior Student Athletes of the Year at the annual athletics banquet Monday night.
Jackie Prater from Jenny's softball and Madison Smith from Jenny's track and field were announced as the winners of the Dr. Peggy Martin Award. Prater is a three-time All-MIAA selection and one of the best all-around players in program history. She is the Jenny's all-time leader in doubles, home runs, total bases, and RBI. As a pitcher, the Nixa, Missouri native is fourth all-time in strikeouts and fifth in appearances, innings pitched, and career wins.
Smith is a native of Lee Summit and a 6-time All-American and 8-time All-MIAA recipient. She was third at the NCAA Indoor Championships this year in the pentathlon and fourth in the high jump, helping the Jennies claim their first ever NCAA team national title. Smith is also a multiple-time MIAA scholar athlete as well.
On the men's side, Frank Cagnina from Mules Wrestling, Cy Moritz from Mules Golf, and Levance Taylor from Mules Football were named the winners of the Vernon Kennedy Award.
Cagnina came to UCM from Hillsdale, New Jersey to become just the second Mules wrestler to win 2 individual national championships when he captured the 149-pound national title this year. He is the 7th individual national champion in program history. He went 24-1 this season, earning bonus points wins and 20 of 24 wins. He finished his 2-year career with a record of 63-3, good for a program record, .955 win percentage.
Moritz is a 4-time All-MIAA performer and a 2-time All-American with the chance for a 3rd All-America honor coming up later this postseason. During his career, the Owensville, Missouri native had 10 top 10 finishes, 7 top 5 finishes, and a pair of tournament victories, including the 2014 MIAA Individual Championship. Moritz will also be a 4-time All-MIAA scholar athlete.
And finally, Taylor had one of the best individual seasons of any running back in Mules football history. A native of Raytown, Missouri, he was named an All-American by 4 different publications, including a first-team selection to the Associated Press Little All-America team. He led the MIAA and was 3rd in the NCAA Division II with a UCM single-season record of 1,918 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns. His 2,618 all-purpose yards also set a new UCM single-season record, and his 218.2 all-purpose yards per game was the best in the nation. He set a new UCM career record for all-purpose yards and finished 2nd all-time at UCM with 3,941 rushing yards. He was a 5-time All-Conference honoree and has signed a professional contract with the Ottawa Red Blacks of the Canadian Football League.
Some well-deserved honors. Congratulations to all our UCM athletes and teams for another great year in UCM athletics.
Thanks for staying with us this semester. We'll be back in the fall to bring you another exciting year of Mules and Jennies athletics. I'm Brianna Blocker.
I'm Adrian Columbus.
And I'm Jason Katz. Thank you for inviting us into your homes. You've been watching Sports Page on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS. We'll see you back here next year.
For SportsPage is provided by Union Station, Crossroads to Technology, a one-stop shopping source for technology needs, campus-compatible computers, software for Mac and PCs, and much more. Located on campus on the lower floor of the Elliott Union in Warrensburg. Union Station, Crossroads to Technology. And promotional support for SportsPage is provided by 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar. 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar, the radio home of University of Central Missouri Athletics.